Hello, everyone. Welcome to Theme Park Source. We are back after a long hiatus, and the London Resort is now dead.
Yep, the London Resort is dead. Long live. Well, London Resort Source is dead. We don't know. Maybe London Resort isn't dead, but for now we're treating it as so because it just became increasingly clear that the plans that we spent ages going through and discussing just weren't going to happen. So for now, we're just going to be talking about all the other theme parks.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you never know. We will report on the London Resort Source if there is any news.
Yeah, and thanks very much to all of our subscribers that stuck with us. Obviously, it's going to be slightly different now, but the format is going to be basically the same as what hopefully you liked before.
So today we're going to be talking about rides that will be opening next year in 2024.
Yeah, without further ado, let's talk about the first edition for 2024, Hyperia at Thorpe Park.
For people that don't know about the ride, it's the UK's tallest and fastest roller coaster, reaching heights of 236 feet and speeds of over 80 miles an hour. The ride manufacturer will be Mack Rides, and it will feature a 180-degree drop, 3 inversions, outwards bank airtime hill, and a splashdown. And it's located in the Old Town area of where Loggers Leap used to be. And it's scheduled to open next year.
So what do you think about the name, Steve, and the branding? Because obviously we knew this for the last year or so, maybe longer, as Project Exodus. But now obviously we know the name's Hyperia and the tagline "Find Your Fearless." What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts were I didn't like it. It also, from an enthusiast point of view, reminded me of Hyperion at Energylandia. But I think Merlin have actually gone for a different approach this time, instead of going for their dark themes that they're mostly known for.
I'm really glad they haven't just gone for another, monster crawling out of the woods, trying to take your teeth out, throw you on a fire, and put you through a meat grinder vibe, which is what they've basically come for the past basically 10 years, like probably longer than that, ever since Stealth, really. Some people have said that apparently Hyperia is the son of a river god in Greek mythology, which would be cool if that's why they've gone for it, because obviously Loggers Leap used to stand where Hyperia is being built now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of positives with this ride. I think initially when we saw the layout, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, but we found it a bit maybe uninspiring. But looking at it now, it's definitely got a lot of unique elements for a UK roller coaster. Would you agree with that? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're trying to do something different here. The 180-degree vertical drop is going to be absolutely mad. And if you think about how people love Oblivion, and that's literally just a drop.
Yeah.
Guess what you've got then after that is an Immelman, and then you've got this really interesting element, which is like a turnaround, but it has like an outward bank that flips you all the way around into a roll, a bit like the roll on Iron Gwazi. There's nothing like it in the whole of Europe, so that's really, really positive. The one thing that I think just is a bit upsetting is the fact that after this dive loop, which comes after that drop, you basically just go into a splashdown, so you're basically hitting the brakes, and then you're just turning around and going back into the station. And for me, that just feels like a bit of a cop-out, and I feel like it's just another example of Merlin giving us a short ride because it's cheaper, and that just annoys me.
No, you're completely right. I think this roller coaster is going to offer some great moments, but it's very Merlin in the fact that it's short, and also it's 236 feet tall. We know that the big one is 235 feet, I think, above sea level. So that's a cop out to me. Like they could have made it a bit taller. But let's see. I mean, only the future will hold next year when it opens. I think a lot of UK fans are excited about this because it is a brand new roller coaster and it's over 100 feet. So, you know, it's fun to criticise Merlin, you know, for their name or whatever, but they're not going to care at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the teaser video for the ride so we can get a bit more of a understanding of what it's like. And just like that, in a blink of an eye, it's over.
It's just a shame, isn't it? Because it's actually a good layout, and then it just falls short, doesn't it? It feels like the layout falls short. It's like breadcrumbs.
I do like the fact they've added the splashdown as a bit of a nod, but I feel like they're really missing out on what would have been a really obvious thing to do, which would be to have the turnaround coming round to where Logger's drop used to be, and then having like a double down and a splash there, and then going up the brakes. That would have been a real tribute to Logger's Leap. But again, like no one's going to give a crap about that apart from like.
That's a great idea. That's a really good idea.
100 people on Twitter will like cream themselves over it, and then everyone else will just be like,
they put it right where the drop used to be. That'd be a great idea, but you know they might make a tribute to it in some other way.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack is amazing. I love the soundtrack. It's honestly really good.
Yeah, the soundtrack and the whole vibe reminds me quite a lot of Ride to Happiness.
Yeah.
And I really love the theming of that. It's like, it really feels like a positive experience to go on that ride. It's just very sort of euphoric and uplifting. And I really like that they're going for that here. And the tagline, I actually like it. Find your fearless. It's very positive. It's great that they are bringing in some more of this positive messaging. I think we've reached a time now where people just had enough of everything that's dark, and there's enough darkness anyway.
Yeah.
Let's start having theme parks that bring a bit more light, I suppose.
Yeah, and this is, I think this is spot on really about that, isn't it? That they are doing something that's very positive and uplifting, and I think that's good because in recent times it has been pretty rubbish, and you know, this is good. So I'm looking forward to it when it opens. Still no scheduled date, but we're going to predict it's probably going to be the beginning of the season with it going vertical. Well, recently it was this week. So yeah, look forward to it. Okay, so moving on to the next subject is probably the next biggest thing that's coming to the UK in 2024. Well, I say, coming to the UK, but it's basically reopening again, which is Nemesis, which is an iconic roller coaster for Alton Towers. And I think all enthusiasts are excited that it's going through an extensive track replacement during this season.
Yeah, I think the thing with this, right, is that the ride is so intricately built into the landscape, and the structures that are there currently, that you really couldn't make much of a modification. It's not like Megaphobia, for example, which reopened, retracked, and had some of the elements slightly improved. This is just completely like for like. There's going to be absolutely no difference whatsoever in the layout, but at the end of the day, it was getting really rough and uncomfortable to ride, and also it will have just been falling apart. When a ride is that old, that's just what happens. Another thing that has caused a bit of controversy is the new color scheme. What are your thoughts on that, Steve?
It looks. I don't know if I like the actual what are they, like veins that are going through the track sort of thing. It does look a bit tacky to me. I don't know, but I would have preferred it if they just went for one colour scheme, even if it was just red or black. I think it would have looked a bit better. You know, I can see why they've gone with that sort of colour scheme. It's definitely something different, that's for sure.
I guess the thing is that you can't really have just turned it red, because then everyone will just be like, oh, you've just made it the same colour as Nemesis Inferno. And,
Exactly.
and it would have like made the distinction between the two even less than there already is. I think if you just went with black as well, people would be a bit like, oh, that's just the most literally basic choice you could make, apart from just using the same color. So yeah, I think they've tried to do something different. I personally don't hate it.
The trains themselves are going to remain the same style with the OTSRs and not the new vest restraints. I've heard because it's it can't. I think the new vest restraints, because of the track layout and the fact that there's a lot of near misses, it will actually it won't be able to miss the actual, you know, some of the structure. So they had to stick with the old trains.
But there is one addition though that I've noticed recently been confirmed, is that the brakes at the end, which you might remember from riding Nemesis, were incredibly violent, are now going to be basically swapped from being, I think, friction brakes to being electromagnetic brakes, which means that the stop will be a lot more smooth. And I think that's positive.
Definitely a positive, I'd say. I think what's great is that this is an iconic coaster for the UK and probably the world as well. And I can't think of many rides that actually, you know, get a complete retrack and a refurbishment and a new theme. That's how iconic it is, and that's how much Alton Towers know, you know, it's a very important ride for them. So yeah, I think, you know, we can only be positive about this project. So, and I'm keen to ride it next year when it opens.
So next we're going to discuss the new family roller coaster coming to Drayton Manor in 2024. We don't know a huge amount about this ride, a lot less than we know about the others. But we do know that it's going to be manufactured by Intamin, so that's great. And we know that it's going to have both a conventional lift hill, but then also a launch element later on in the ride. But then the things start to get a bit sketchy, and this is why. So there's a video that you can search for on YouTube after this if you want to have a look, by Intamin, basically sort of showcasing a ride that has these two elements. But then there's a bit of a confusion, and I don't know if you know anything about this, Steve, but on the RTDB page at the moment, it says it's going to have spinning cars, and this ride type doesn't have spinning cars. So yeah, I don't know what's on there.
Well, I think this is what this optional pay-to-play unique backwards carriage on the trains. So that's what that is. I've never heard of the term pay-to-play. I don't know about you, but I can imagine it's like a bit like Enzo at Icon, where you probably you pay an additional charge and you can have a backwards experience on this ride. Looking at, I think this is really good for Drayton Manor. Looking at the POV, like you say, it looks like a great family coaster with some really cool sort of elements in it, with the splashdown and the fact that it's got a lift hill and a launch, which I think will be exciting for families. And of course, when they got this additional, like you say, this backwards option, it sort of adds a bit of variety to the ride.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm sick of all the family boomerangs and suspended family coasters that are just going in everywhere, which all have basically the same layout. And so it's really nice to see Drayton Manor putting a bit more thought into it. Obviously, they already have a family boomerang, but it's nice that they have gone for something that's going to be a bit more interesting. And I think the pay-to-play element is smart, because what it does is it allows families to enjoy the sort of regular thrill level experience. But then if you wanted to make it a bit more thrilling, then you can pay a bit more, which is a bit of a shame. But there we go, and then you get to do the backwards version. So makes it more suitable for some of the older visitors to Drayton Manor, which obviously is going to be important because they've obviously gotten rid of Apocalypse recently. So that's one thrill ride down. And they've also now announced they're getting rid of the stand-up element of Shockwave too, which will make it surely less thrilling. So it's good that they're still thinking a little bit about that market.
Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this promotional video for this new roller coaster type that will be coming to Drayton Manor next year.
Okay, so we're coming out the station now and looking down into the lift.
Yeah, so this won't be a launch itself, will it? It's just going to be a standard lift hill.
Yeah, probably tire driven, like 13.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably around 40 foot or so drop into a nice airtime hill, some low to the ground, dips and turns, characteristic of. This reminds me of Cheetah Hunt. This bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's got that Cheetah Hunt feel, isn't it? And then
now you're in the splashdown, and now this is the launch. Up background.
And then into some more transitions. I mean, it's funny how you mentioned 13 because like the first element of 13 is pretty dull. It depends if you've got it as a family roller coaster, and this just looks a lot better. It looks like there's more going on. Yeah,
and I hope that you see the theming here is great. I hope that they do invest into the theming so that it's of a standard, similar standard to this, because I think that will really make the ride. And finally, the last new for 2024 UK coaster we're going to be talking about is the Dueling Family Boomerang coming to Legoland Windsor. And we don't know an awful lot about this ride, do we, Steve?
No, I mean, groundwork's already started on it, so they're definitely building it. But we don't. They still haven't confirmed the manufacturer yet. But I think it's rumored to be Vekoma Sierra. Judging by the layout, I think the reason Sierra is a rumor because Legoland sort of deal with them quite a lot. But in terms of the layout, it looks like a Vekoma Boomerang. And it will be basically a dueling boomerang coaster, which is all we kind of know. The layout is fairly basic. Obviously, it's quite a compact roller coaster because Legoland probably don't have much space. But it will be quite thrilling, and the fact that it's dueling as well is added bonus.
I mean, looking at the layout, which you can see in the bottom right there, it looks like it's going to reverse up a small hill and then go through figure 8 sort of layout where there's going to be a couple near misses, which will be obviously quite thrilling for the riders. And then it looks like it will go back kind of round on itself and up basically the same profile as the original, the first hill. And then obviously it will go to the top of that and then drop back down and go through the layout backwards. I'm sure that for little kids, it's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be like one of their first big rides, and it's a lot more challenging as a ride than like the Dragon. So I think this is a nice move.
But I think it's good that Legoland are actually getting a new roller coaster because they've had some good recent investments with is it called Mythica, I think, which is the new land that's opened recently. And of course, it's great to see a new roller coaster at Legoland. So it's good that they're investing. I went there, I don't know, I think it was a few years back with the family. And I'm going to be honest, Legoland is feels a bit dated. Like they need to, I don't know, just it feels like a bit tacky, and they need to sort of, refurbish some areas of Legoland. Yeah. This will be a great addition, like you say, for the families. And we might cover it again when we know more about it. So that's the end of episode 1 for Theme Park Source. We hope you enjoyed the video. And as I say, please like, subscribe and comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. And we'll see you next time in the next episode.
Yeah, do let us know what you think about these new rides opening in the comments. It'd be really interesting to get a discussion going. And we'll see you next time for some discussion about new rides opening across Europe in 2024.
We'll see you then.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. See you soon, guys.
Okay, I think that was fine.
Yeah, it's good.